afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining Nexsan's webinar today, hosted by Ingram Micro's Emerging Business Group. My name is Carleen Edge, Marketing Manager at EBG. Today's webinar will last approximately 45 minutes, and in terms of general housekeeping, your lines have been muted for the duration of the webinar. If you do have any questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A box on your screen, and we'll do our best to answer them throughout the presentation. We will be raffling off 3 prizes today, which include an Apple Watch, AirPod Pros, and a $250 gift card to Omaha Steaks. And we'll be sending an email letting everybody know who the lucky winners are later today. Today's webinar will be presented by Reed Fenner, VP of Global Sales, Michael McDermott, Regional Sales Director, East Coast Territory, and Cody Mosbeck, Distribution Director. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us today. And now I'll hand things over to Reed Fenner to kick it off. Reed, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Carleen. And I want to thank Carleen and the Ingram EBG group for setting this up. And most of all, thank all of you for being here. We appreciate your time. And we think we have a good presentation for you to show you how you guys can earn additional money selling StorCentric products. First slide here. All right. So in case some of you don't know who StorCentric is a company we formed about 3 years ago. In the past 3 years, we've acquired the 5 companies that you see there, the 5 logos. So Nexsan, Drobo, Bexada, Retrospect, Violin. We brought all these companies together for a few different reasons. One, we think that we can get economies of scale by bringing together these companies, both in engineering and supply chain. In order to go up against some of the bigger competitors, we need to have the scale available to do so. So we're building the company to do that. We also wanted to address a broad variety of storage challenges. And so by bringing together each of these pieces of the portfolio, we can now address the enterprise market from the edge, at a few terabytes all the way up to the core data center at hundreds of petabytes. So we have solutions across this entire range now. Some of these other numbers on here, we have 40,000 plus enterprise customers, 500,000 systems deployed, et cetera. And we have maintained a 96% customer satisfaction being our NPD score. So the core of what we're doing is trying to take each customer individually, tailor a storage solution for their needs, and then make sure that we follow up on it and make sure they have a good experience with that solution. Next slide. So here you see, this is a sampling of kind of our strong customer base. We have a very large and diverse customer base, and we're really focused on several big market segments, and the market leaders in each of these segments are already using our products in most cases. So, for instance, in healthcare, our Assurion product line meets all HIPAA requirements. It's widely used to store medical data imaging. In data analytics, our Bexada line is the fastest system out there for doing analytics in just about all cases. We also have kind of some broad-based solutions, our E-Series and B solutions, which we'll talk about, which make great storage targets in just about all of these markets, and they can fit with just about any kind of backup software to act as a very economical, reliable, dense storage target for just about any kind of business. Next slide, please. Why partner? So we think that we can deliver you more margin dollars per transaction. We can also guarantee you that we want to be your partner. There's some of the big guys out there. We know some of their tactics, but we think you can lead with Nexsan. You can use Nexsan to fight off some of the Dells, the EMC, HPs. We have a lockdown deal registration program we call Lead Guard. It's been in operation for over 20 years. Protects your margins on the deals that you find, typically between 25 to 30 points of margin for you guys. Easy partner portal. We have MDF funds if you want to go out and we can help generate some business together. Like I said, we have a full portfolio of solutions now so that we can actually tailor a storage solution for just about any kind of enterprise out there, as well as support it. Next slide. And this is kind of a big picture of our solutions portfolio. So you see along the bottom, the enterprise storage platforms. These are the core pieces of the business that we've acquired and put together. You can see, from core business workloads to mid-range NVMe to high performance NVMe with Bexada, as well as remote workforce, remote desktop. and solutions for the edge with Drobo. We're also moving kind of up the chain. And the way we see us as a company moving and the market moving is that data protection and then data cloud services are really going to be kind of your higher value propositions. We have significant and really cool data protection solutions that we're going to talk about, and we in the last quarter launched our data mobility suite, which allows for data migration, consistency, and operations kind of across any kind of storage platform, which will really take us into the hybrid cloud world that we're already in, and it will make data easier to manage across multiple on-prem and cloud instances of your data. So I'm going to, next slide, and I'm going to pass this off to Mike McDermott, who is a longtime Nexsan employee, StorCentric employee, to kind of talk through kind of the specifics of our different product bases. Mike?
Yep, thank you very much, Reed. And just to introduce myself a little bit, my name is Mike McDermott. I've been selling storage in the enterprise for over 25 years. I started my career at a Sun reseller in New York and New Jersey, SSI Data. From there, I went on to OnStore, which was a NAS gateway manufacturer out of San Jose. From there, I went to DDN, which was a high-end for HPC and media storage. And the last 10 years, I've been managing the channel for the New York East Coast region from Canada down to Virginia for Nexsan. And I think when it comes to being a VAR, one of the most important things, stay on this slide for me, one of the most important things when it comes to being a evaluated reseller is to understand A, your line card, and B, where you can go and make money in the environment. As a reseller, there were many times I would sit in a meeting and listen to manufacturers come in with a channel rep and really say to myself, how can I make money with this? What am I doing sitting in a conference room or on a WebEx for a half an hour or an hour, and knowing that there's not a lot of reason why I can sell this or where it may fit in my environment. Nexsan, I think, is a tool that you'll be able to use, and StorCentric products or tools you'll be able to use to get into your customer environments and sell. As Reed said, 40,000 accounts in 60 countries. You think about that. I remember when I think Nimble went public, they had 2,900 customers. I know when 3PAR got bought by HP, I think they had 600 customers. Nexsan's been around for 20 years, and we've got 40,000 accounts in 60 countries. So it's petabytes and petabytes of storage that we've been selling. So as you listen to the product suites, you'll be able to take a look at it. On the left, we'll start out with our SAN products. That's our Beast and our E-Series. Highly efficient, cost-effective. In the middle is the Unity. That's our ZFS-based file system. That box with the yellow line is our storage that has CPUs, memory in it, and the file system. Underneath that in the black box, you're just going to be adding storage. So you've got your CIFS, your NFS. That competes against your NetApp and your Isilon. The Assurion is our HIPAA and SIPA compliant storage, which has morphed into ransomware storage as well as police video storage. And then on the right, we've got our Violin and Vexata. Those are our NVMe very high performance boxes, both SAN and NAS. So when you think about the portfolio, you're looking at 4 pillars that make up the Nexsan portfolio. Go ahead. This is the core workloads. So when you take a look at the Nexsan E-Series, you're talking about our block storage, dual controller, active ports, replication, snapshots, VMware Center. You've got SSD, SED drives. All that is included with the products at no extra cost. They're all certified with Veeam and VMware and Commvault and Veritas, your backup products. As you can see, you can get different amounts of storage in the E18, the E48, and the E60. And the box on the top is our Beast Elite. That is 60 drives in a 4U chassis as a top loader. Very cost effective. You're talking about putting a petabyte of storage in a 4U chassis for about under $100 per cost for enterprise storage to you as the VAR, you're able to then go out to your customers for Veeam, for Commvault, for video backup, and sell it at 140 a terabyte, 130 a terabyte, and make 30 and 40 points GP. And look at the performance. 7 gigs of throughput on that box. Tremendous. Go ahead, next slide. The same thing with our QLC. So basically, what's beginning to happen, as hopefully everybody on this call knows, the 10K, 15K SAS drives are going away, right? So now you've got flash on the top end, and you've got 7,200 RPM, 12, 14, 16 terabyte data on the back end. The reason for that is everybody's creating and holding on to so much data today. They're only using the flash for what they're actively manipulating data. Everything else is living on 7,200 RPM, 12, 14, 16 terabyte drives. These boxes here can perform tremendously. If you look at the amount of storage, you've got 138, 246, and 460 terabytes of all flash in those boxes. In another 3-4 weeks, when the 15 terabyte QLCs are certified, those numbers will double. Really cost-effective storage for flash. You're probably talking in the, according to the amount of flash you buy, the $300 or $400 range for an all-flash box. You compare that to others, and you really see the value. This slide I really like because it kind of gives you an idea of the evolution of the flash and why today QLC is so cost-effective and really so important in your portfolio to deliver to your customers. When SLC first came out, it was so high performance and so expensive that only 1% of customers could afford it. It was $8,000 to $12,000 a terabyte. It was single cell flash, which means you could read and write to the same cell with an Oracle database for 10 years and not wear it out. That was great, but who could afford it? They then came out with MLC, the multi-layer. What's not on this slide, if you remember not too long ago, it was EMLC, the enterprise multi-layer. Then they released TLC and then QLC. The great thing about the QLC is that it's 7 times faster than your 10 or 15K SAS drives. So if you think about that in VMware environments, VMware clusters, Hyper-V, SQL environments, well, just 3 years ago, you may have sold a 3PAR. You may have sold a Dell product. You may have sold a Nimble product into that environment because they needed 5, 8, 20,000 IOPS to run that environment. And you were selling 2.4 10K or 15K SAS drives at 400 or 500 a terabyte for spinning disk. I can now give you 7 times that performance for the same price. The spinning disk. It's really changed the game. Go ahead. This is the unified. So we just covered our SAN products. Dual controller, spinning disk, or flash. You can connect them fiber, 16 gig, 30 gig. Now we're moving on to the second tier, which competes against your NetApp or your Isilon in your mixed unity, NAS and SAN combined. That head unit, as I said, that's got your controllers, your memory, and your file system. You're just going to be underneath that, you're going to be adding your storage, whether it's spinning disk or flash, and you can scale and grow it. The unified gives you the hyper edge, and that's the fast tier. You get the DRAM for write, and you get the flash for read. And what does that do? That gives you the availability to give your customers that spike mode. So if they've got applications that get hot, that data will live on the cache in either read or write. A good example, think of a small local college, 3,000, 4,000 students in a community college. Their normal IOPS for the email system and their applications for their desktops or laptops might be 3,000, 4,000 IOPS 90% of the time. But once they go to VDI and 3,800 students try to log in at 7 in the morning, their IOPS jump to 12,000. And then they level out again at 3,000 or 4,000 during the day. And then at night, when all the students and faculty log on to work, their homework, what happens? It spikes again. So in a typical environment 6 or 7 years ago, you had to sell them gear that was able to run the spike point all the time. So you had to sell them a system that could do 16 or 18,000 IOPS, which was more expensive than a system like the Unity that will give you steady IOPS of 3,000 to 4,000, but have the cash in the system to handle that burst. That's the real secret sauce of a unified system. Go ahead. And it scales. So you can buy a small 3100 that starts at 30 terabytes and goes up to 192. You can then get one to go up to 2.6 petabytes. And then the largest one, the 7900, can manage 8.6 petabytes. And when you take a look at the IOPS, now you're talking applications that 90% of your customers somewhere in their environment have. And you get all the software included. You get inline, you get thin provisioning, you get snapshots, you get replication, you get compression. All the things that you get with a robust ZFS-based file system are in there with no extra line items. Go ahead. Violin. You may know the name from years past. They were one of the first ones to come out with an NVMe box. They're now part of the StorNext file system, StorNext properties. But one of the big things about this is, if you look at that first line, all NVMe flash storage. What does that mean? A lot of people believe, and I did when I first heard it, hey, we need to buy special NVMe flash drives. There are no NVMe flash drives. The NVMe is the way that the flash is used in the product. It's really the guts of the system. What it does is it unlocks the data and the data computation from the storage and allows the SSDs to go directly to the IOPS. So what it does through the data acceleration is it takes off the RAID, the encryption, the garbage collecting, all the things in a normal system that the CPUs manage. It's taken out of the data path, and you're allowed to get fast IOPS. So we'll see the next slide. When I take SSDs and put them into one of our E-Series or our Beasts, with those performances, our units will jump from 3,000 or 4,000 to 30 or 40,000 IOPS. Good for 90% of your customers. But go to the next slide. When you take a look at this, look what an NVMe box does. For 116 terabytes of flash, you get up to 500,000 IOPS. So you're using flash drives, but they're in a system with NVMe that actually allows the direct access to those drives. Where when you put flash drives into our E-Series or our Beast, you've got the controllers that are standard storage controllers. You get great performance, you just don't get that super hypervised performance that a Violin will give you. And there's two main models right now, the 120 and the 220, and what that gives you is obviously usable, and then you get effective, because you've got dedupes and compression in these boxes that will allow you to obviously store more data than you actually have in disk size. Go ahead. And this is Mixada. This is the SAN that we have for flash. As you can see, it's unbelievable. You're talking 6 million IOPS and 60 gigs of throughput. The 6 million IOPS is impressive, but the 60 gigs of throughput is insane. So of our sandboxes that had NASA, had flash in them, our E-Series and Beast, that's a garden hose. You then take NVMe on the Violin, that's a sewer pipe. You get all the performance and the throughput. This is the Lincoln Tunnel of storage, 60 gigabits. You can run 48 HD television channels out of HBO or AMC networks. You can run them all out of this one box. That's how much throughput you get. And when it comes to the IOPS, I know one example of their customers is a company that does payroll. They had 5 or 6 EMC V-bricks with a bunch of data flash in front of it. It was taking 90 hours to run the payroll. They spend half the money on a Vixata box, and they do the payroll in 14 hours now. That's how powerful this box is. So we've got overlays for this. If you need real high-end performance, then this is a great box. Go ahead. These are our data protection product. When you come to ransomware today, it's unbelievable. It's all over, as you know. Everybody says they can protect you from ransomware. There isn't a software product that doesn't say we got ransomware features. But what's weird is more ransomware attacks happen every day. They can't protect these customers. Garmin just paid millions of dollars for it. You can read every day about these ransomware attacks. We've got one product called the Assurion that will stop ransomware from getting to your customers if they load their data on the Assurion. It gives you the ransomware protection and the unbreakable backup. In 18 years since the product has been out, there's never been a corruption and there's never been a lost file in any customer's data for Assurion. Just to give you an idea how good it is, GE, McKesson, and AFCA OEM this Assurion product for their medical imaging. So if you think about why they do that, could you imagine if a hospital, just say in New York, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Mohammedi's, any of these hospitals in Manhattan, say they were taking, I don't know, CAT scans or any imaging of a famous person, Beyonce or Steve Jobs, not Steve Jobs, a Tesla, and all of a sudden their picture wound up on the cover of the New York Post, one of their medical images. What's the liability? 500 million, $1 billion in lawsuits? Those 3 manufacturers trust Assurion to protect the data of their medical records. Over 500 banks trust Assurion to do their banking. So that's very important when you're looking at that class of storage. Go ahead. And the way it works is very simple. You can have Assurion in the cloud. You can have it a hybrid where you have a storage on your facility and then go to an S3 connection to connect out to the cloud. Or as most of our customers have it today, most of them have on-prem in 2 data centers, 2 copies of the data. We'll go to our next slide. This is our DMS. This is a very slick product that can sit over the storage. It can migrate, replicate, and synchronize. So this is a software product. It's sold on a terabyte basis. So for example, if I have a customer that owns a Nexsan environment and says, hey, Mike, I want to go out to the cloud, bingo, I just lay DMS software on it, and out to the cloud they go through an S3 connection. If I have somebody that just bought 2 Nexsan Unities, they had a NetApp and 2 Isilons, they can use this software very seamlessly to migrate the data from the NetApp and the Isilons right into the Nexsan. So it's very good and very easy, friendly, easy to use. Go ahead. And here's examples of what's needed to be moved and where you want to move it. The DMS software is really a tremendous product that can move policy-driven, secure data. It moves the data very simply and it's very cost-effective as you're migrating and changing your environments from an all-prem to a cloud or vice versa. Go ahead. These are some of the cloud providers right now and some of the regional hosting facilities that are certified under the DMS software. And this is growing every day. So if you see something that you don't see that you want, just give us a call and we'll let you know when it's going to be certified. Next. And this is just our low end for commercial business, which is retrospect. It's been around for a long time. It's server desktop protection, on-prem and cloud basis. You can customize it, and it's complete protection end to end. So, for example, if you've got a law firm that's got 68 attorneys spread out all over, Retrospect is a perfect software for that.
All right. Thanks, Mike. So
You got it.
just everyone, thank you for participating and being here. Mike was on fire today, so he flew through the slides a lot faster than we had planned, which is just fine. Just wanted to share with you, if you guys are interested in signing up with Nexsan to become a reseller, contact your Ingram Micro EBG team, contact your rep. They'll get you the reseller agreement. They'll help you with the securing deal registration. If you have customers that you want to go reach out to, or you have a good customer and you want to present Nexsan to them, you think you have an opportunity, we'll set up a meeting with you prior to going out to any of your customers. We'll get you engaged with your regional sales reps and your systems engineer teams that will provide you technical background. We'll support you in any sales that you have ongoing or any opportunities that come up with Nexsan. We want to make sure that we're fully engaged and here to support you and help you grow, make sure that you're making money. I've also left my email address there. You can contact me. My name is Cody Mosbeck. I'm the head of distribution. I work with the Ingram team to help our business grow and help all of our partners succeed. So that concludes the portion of our presentation today. I'd like to kick it back to Carleen. Carleen, are there any questions that came about?
I don't see any questions right now, but we'll give the attendees a minute just to type anything in if they've got anything.
And Carleen, if I could, I'd like to just give a couple examples. If we go back to a customer slide deck, where some real live examples of where we fit in and where we've won.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Mike, this slide?
No, go back to the customer slide. There you go. Okay. So to give you an idea on this customer slide, some of the accounts that I work with and have worked with that are either on the slide or not on the slide. One, of course, is NASCAR that I work with. What we've done, Nexsan has done the Olympics for NBC Sports for 4 or 5 years, where they take our equipment over. They'll film in Sochi or in Korea and bring the boxes back to the United States. Golf Channel is ours. We run data in HBO, in Viacom, also as well as in AMC networks out on Long Island. They're basically standardized on Nexsan. When it comes to research labs, unbelievable. In our area where I am, Brookhaven Labs is out on Long Island. About 12 years ago, they had a need for 15 terabytes of storage, and they bought a little, at the time, it was called a Nexsan SATA Boy, which was just a small box. They now have 5 petabytes of CERN Collider data. So these are the type of accounts that grow. Healthcare, whether it's Aetna Insurance or these large organizations that have to keep data safe, healthcare is a real good spot. Hospitals and colleges are tremendous places. When you take a look down at the bottom, John Hopkins APL Physics Lab in Maryland that I cover, tremendous account, always buying data because they're studying the data. MIT up in Boston, huge account of Nexsan. Why? They need diverse amounts of data and they need a lot of data. So when you're talking about studying things, whether it be the sky or whether it be things on Earth, whether it be scientific data, you're talking petabytes and maybe a AI pool. You really don't want to spend $800 or $900 a terabyte to store 600 or 700 petabytes of data. You're not looking at it all the time. NFL Films in South Jersey, 5 petabytes of football video. But realistically, who cares about a Buffalo Bill New York Jet game from 1983 when they both won 2 games? Nobody. But what happens when a coach passes away? What happens when one of the players' sons get drafted? They immediately want that video spun up and sent out to ESPN or the news outlets. It can't be sitting in Iron Mountain on tape. It has to be Nearline on disk. That's where Nexsan makes the money. That's where you, as a reseller, when you talk to the IT directors, you're going to say, hey, you've got to think alternatively. What's driving today? VMware, Hyper-V, Citrix. The software is driving. So if you get into applications where they're using software to move the data, then you've got to say to your end users, hey, storage is really becoming a commodity, and the best enterprise storage for the buck is Nexsan. No matter what pillar you want to go to, you're going to be able to get enterprise class storage where you as a reseller can make money. Doesn't make a lot of sense doing a backup project where the Commvault software is $2,000 and then you 200,000, I mean, and then you bring in either a NetApp or Isilon where the storage is 200,000 and none of the software features on that storage get used. Why? Commvault's driving, VMware is driving, Veeam's driving, Hyper-V is driving, Citrix is driving. So if software is driving, the underlying storage is where you as a reseller can educate your customer, but more importantly, make good margin and not fight for a 20 terabyte transaction deal against 3 other manufacturers and make 3 to 5 points. If you want to make 25 to 30 points on storage, then you get a hold of StorCentric through Ingram Micro. I'm good.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Carlene, did anybody put any questions in?
Yes, we did get one. Is the Nexsan product a good fit for IoT advanced data demand for college athletics? Oh, wait. Hold on, it's much larger. Give me 1 second. Okay, yes. The first question is the Nexsan product a good fit for IoT advanced data demand for college athletics?
Definitely. We've got it in all sports environments. Some of the things that that NASCAR and the Golf Channel do with our storage, certainly college athletics would fit our need, yes.
All right. And that is all we've got.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, everyone, thank you for joining. Will be the prizes that we'll notify you after the call later today on who won the prizes. We really appreciate you attending. Thank you to Carlene and the Ingram Micro EBG team for putting this presentation on. And we look forward to working with you and hope that we can help you make money and sell more offerings and provide solid solutions to your customers. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.